Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back. Nice to have you along, and I'm flying solo again today. I wanted to share an interesting question. Pops up in my mind from time to time, and it's such a powerful question to help you reflect on your business and where are you going with it? What would you change about it? And it's very helpful to help you step back and look at it from the big picture rather than saying, well, what do I say in this email, or what should I stick on this post, or is this particular ad working in Google Ads or whatever it may be. It's a bigger thing than that, and looking back and reflecting in the helicopter view, as they say. And that is, if you sold your business, what would a new owner change about the business to make it more successful? If you sold your business, what would the new owner do to make it amazing and make it much more successful? What would they do? Now, where does this come from? Near where I live, there used to be a corner store, or I call it a newsagent. It would sell the newspapers and the milk and bread and not much else more than that. Pretty dusty old place. You wouldn't really want to go in there unless you'd run out of milk, let's put it that way. And a number of years ago, it got purchased. Some new owners came in, they bought it off the owner, and wow, did they convert it. They completely changed their business. And so they put in a whole fresh new design, new decor, fresh coat of paint, new branding, new logos. They added whole new product lines. So they gutted out the store, put in a whole food counter, hot sandwiches with an amazing chicken and pesto sandwich, I must add. So added that. They added fancy products at higher prices, Italian wines and cheeses and all this sort of stuff. An amazing coffee machine, which gets queues of people to queue up because the coffee's really good. They added more staff to actually staff that food counter and the coffee section and all that sort of thing. So made it a lot more busy and created employment. They also get a lot more involved, community involvement. So things like local promotions when the local sports team is in some important match, the flags are out, all that sort of stuff. At Christmas time, there's a letterbox for letters to Santa, all this sort of stuff. But the point is, I always think when I drive past that place, what would the previous owner think about it? Going, wow, I could have done so much with that, or I could have done it differently, or that's fine. I did what I wanted to do and enjoyed my life, and I'm happy for them. But it's a very, very different business. So if you sold your business, your HR-related business, to another person or a company, what would they change about it to make it more successful? So would they give it a fresh new look? Would they change the branding, the logos, the website, all that sort of stuff? Would they add new services and products? So are there things that are missing from your product line or service line? Would they remove products and services? And that's actually probably more common than you think, is going that path of removing products and services to making it a lot more simple, a lot clearer for customers and clients, for people to understand the business so they don't have to look at a whole massive menu of options. It's really easy and simple. And so would the new owners potentially change the structure of the products and service, such as adding tiered packages and things like that, or maybe adding introductory levels as a taster to your full services or products, things like that? Would they increase the prices? And to be honest, that's probably the first place that they would start, because most businesses could increase prices. It's just the nature of doing business. So would they increase prices? And certainly if you were bought by a private equity firm or something like that, that would be one of the first places they would look at and first things that they would change. Would they decrease the prices? Are your prices just crazy? Who knows? But that's an option. I suspect it's less likely, but would they decrease prices? Would they add staff? Would they remove staff? Would they move to an outsourced model? Would they move to an in-source model? Would they look to break it up into smaller pieces and sell it off like, Gordon Gekko in Wall Street? Particularly if you're an online related business, then you could potentially sell off the database, the membership list, or the list of customers and things like that. Or you could sell the product or the IP or the training materials, things like that. Would they look to change their focus to a particular industry or a market segment? So for instance, the corner store that I mentioned, they went up market and changed the focus, and they're full all the time. Would they focus on consulting projects, or would they focus on recurring revenue, or would they focus on product sales or training, or would they try and get for the entry level product and then make more money on the back end sales? A bit like when you buy a car and they try to sell the maintenance and ongoing support, that upfront purchase and then a retainer product or a retainer service. Would they try to look at creating more partnerships with other companies in the industry, teaming up with other firms in the HR related industry to add more revenue, to bring in more referrals, to refer to other businesses, potentially for percentage of sales for business referred elsewhere? So would they look at doing partnerships and things like that? Would they be looking at creating more thought leadership to raise the profile of the business? Have you been sort of hiding under a bushel, hidden away, and not many people know about your business, even though it does wonderful things? Perhaps by raising the profile through thought leadership, that may be a way of generating greater sales and profile and profitability for the business. Would they look to add technology such as HubSpot or other marketing tools? There's all sorts of them out there. Would they look to improve the flow and the process and the management of the business through those sort of tools? Would they add more paid advertising and promotion? You've got options like LinkedIn ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, or buying spots in promotional HR media, all sorts of things, buying stands at trade shows, all that kind of stuff. But would they be looking to scale up and extend the reach of the business by doing paid promotion rather than just sticking stuff on LinkedIn or sending newsletters and hoping that that generates enough interest? So they might be looking to scale it that way. Would they productize or systemize your business with a view to reducing their involvement in the running of the business? So private equity, they might cut costs or increase prices or strip out customer segments and only focus on the high value customers, all that sort of stuff. But equally, someone else who buys the business might be either on the edge of retirement or wanting to have a couple of different businesses in a portfolio, and they want to be not very much involved at all, in which case having things productized or very well organized and structured so that they don't need to be heavily involved in the day-to-day management of the thing. So they might look at that. Or would they try and get the systems in place for the business with a view to selling it quickly? So not just about removing themselves from the day-to-day running of that business, but would they be seeking to have it running so smoothly that they could then sell it as a going concern to another company? So if you think back to Gordon Gekko, he was, breaking stuff up, but perhaps they want to add value, get things organized, getting it running really, really well, and then selling it on. But there's no way that Gordon Gekko's in there running an HR-related business. So a buyer or a private equity firm or whatever, if they're looking to buy a business, they do not want to be in their day-to-day, let's say. So getting those organizational systems in place would help them sell that as well and help you sell it if that was the case. But you see what I mean? There's all sorts of things that can be done, but none of them were looking at what color is the website page or what headline shall I use today on LinkedIn and things like that. But I always think about it when I drive past that corner store and now see it as a thriving gourmet store, cafe, people queuing up. The staff are always happy, smiling, so there's a great atmosphere. The owners have done an amazing job to create a great business, but a great culture in there. And it really helps to stand back and look at your business from the outside, like you were driving past your old corner store or your old HR-related business. Drive past and look at your old HR business and say, well, if a new owner came in, took it over, what would they do? Because if you're asking yourself that kind of question and stepping back and not just stuck in the weeds and looking at the detail all the time, which is fine, and we have to do it, but you might think perhaps there are different ways of structuring the business to unlock value that don't necessarily require huge capital outlays or huge amounts of time and things like that. Perhaps it's just a structuring it in a different way solution to add value, to create a better business, to perhaps create a better lifestyle for you. There's all sorts of considerations and everyone's different, but looking at it from this sort of big picture view can really help. So I would encourage you to reflect on it. What would you see? What would you do if you drove past your old business? And then find yourself some quiet time, go for a walk. Who knows how you do it, but reflect on that and wonder, well, how can we do it differently, better, to suit the business needs and to meet your needs as the business leader, business owner? Of course, if you need any help with that, please do get in touch because that's what I do. It's what my team does, is to help you do that kind of stuff. And so we're always looking at what other HR-related businesses are doing, how they structure it, what works, what doesn't, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to talk about that and how you can do those sort of things, please do get in touch. Yeah, otherwise, get yourself a nice coffee and think about that as you drive past the store. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.